Welcome to IAYTD and welcome to Comic Fights. Before we start, I want to plug, we're doing a giveaway right now for these three Funko Pops, Princess Leia, Groot, and the Punisher. So if you want all three of those, check out my other most recent video, my last video about how to win them, but it's super easy. Just go to my social media at IAYTD and you could win those three bad boys. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the culmination of something massive. So in case you're just joining us, we have this arc where Juggernaut arrives in Gotham City. The worlds are combining. The only way to stop him, Batman brings in John Constantine. And Constantine works out a deal with the demon Sidorak and says basically like, Juggernaut isn't the best host for you. My thing is killing demons. Let me become your avatar and destroy the demons across the DC universe so that you are basically unopposed. So Sidorak goes for that. They depower Juggernaut. Constantine now goes on this quest to kind of defeat demons everywhere. While he's gone, this whole thing happens in Gotham where Batman is eventually defeated by the Kingpin and an army of Marvel villains under his command. Now the city is kind of grieving. They don't know what to do. So all of these Marvel heroes take on the mantle of Batman to instill hope. So we've got like Daredevil and the Punisher and like Jessica Jones and Domino and all of these people kind of taking on the mantle of Batman. But the most prominent one is Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And he goes straight for Kingpin and he says, we're going to stop this. And as soon as he reaches Kingpin, we discover that he is not Kingpin, he is Clayface. Clayface is harder to defeat because Clayface is like, how do you stop him? He can appear as anything. He can regenerate from any wound. How do you stop him? So here we have our solution given to us by Daniel Bright. It seems like all of this would end in a showdown. Spider-Man takes his group of heroes to King Clayface's headquarters. There are several key villains guarding the entrance and they engage in an epic brawl. Meanwhile, amidst the chaos, Spider-Man sneaks away to King Clayface's location inside. Spider-Man walks into an empty room. It looks as if Clayface isn't there, until his spider sense goes off suddenly. Spider-Man dodges just in time but is slammed into the ground midair. Clayface disguised himself as several objects in the room. His parts all joined together as he prepares to attack again, but he stopped cold in his tracks. Literally, his feet are frozen to the ground as Spider-Man continues to throw more cryo pellets from his utility belt. Having fought Sandman before, he already knew how to approach the fight. You don't directly fight a man like this because punches mean almost nothing to them. Instead, you mess with the chemical composition of their body. Now frozen solid, Spider-Man wonders what to do with this massive ice statue that stands before him. Shortly afterwards, he's shot to pieces as the Punisher peppers Clayface with bullets from outside the building. So Spider-Man, with Batman's technology, manages to freeze him, but Spider-Man's not a killer. Frank Castle is. Kingpin destroyed, at least for now, because it's likely that Clayface will eventually reform. But that's a story for another day. Gotham seems to be at peace. Now, the ground starts to tremble. The world starts to shake. What is happening? When all of a sudden the ground opens as if hell itself is coming to Gotham City. And we see the demon Trigon. 6 eyes, or sometimes 4, depending on the continuity, rises up from the ground. And he is looking for John Constantine, the avatar of Sidorak, who has been systematically taking out demons across the DC universe. And Trigon knows. He's interacted with Constantine before. He knows that he's a formidable force, and he is looking for him. Where is Constantine? John Constantine shows up wearing the armor of the Juggernaut. So physically invulnerable, magically incredibly powerful. What a combination. Everyone else at the scene, all of these Batman, Spider-Man, all of these people, villains included, scatter because they know that they are nothing compared to Trigon. So right now, we have a one-on-one match. Simple. But we're considering this an epic comic fight because it is not only John Constantine, but it's Constantine with the powers of the Juggernaut. Will that play into this? We'll see. Trigon is exactly the Trigon that we know. Most of his qualities coming from the New 52 continuity, which DC is so confusing. So now we're going to cover what these two are capable of and you are going to decide how this whole story ends. We're going to do one more video after this, which is the results for this fight. Okay, so it's going to be a 6-parter, this huge epic sprawling story. You're going to decide, does Constantine win? Does Trigon win? Is it a draw? What happens? So first, let's talk about what they can do, and then you're going to leave your comments down below for us to decide. So let's talk about Constantine without the powers of Sidorak first. What can he do as a person? So he's gifted magically, but he tries not to use magic a lot, but in this case, he might. So he knows a lot of spells, blasts, teleportation. He can create protective wards that if he stands inside, he is invulnerable to harm. But it means he's confined to a location. He can teleport, he can banish demons to other places. He knows a lot, and if there's something he needs to know, if he figures out a way to defeat Trigon, he usually knows where to find that spell or where to find an artifact that does what he needs it to do. His knowledge about the occult and about artifacts is extensive. Now we're going to add into this what Sidorak gives him. So what does it mean to become an avatar of Sidorak? Basically, he has this armor that includes a force field which makes him nearly invulnerable. The tricky thing is that the weakness here is that this force field is weak against magic. So if Trigon uses his magic against it, it may eventually wear out that force field, which might make him able to be damaged. Constantine in this form will have incredible strength, where Juggernaut has gone toe-to-toe with beings like the Hulk and Colossus and Thing. So he is going to pack a punch against Trigon. He's also, even without the force field, so dense that things like bullets, knives tend not to hurt the actual flesh of Juggernaut. The thing that we tend to associate with the Juggernaut is this momentum that he can build up. That if he moves in a direction, it is nearly unstoppable to stop him. That he will just keep going. Very few things have been able to stop him, including an amped up Hulk that was given celestial technology from Apocalypse, Thor tapping into ancient powers from Asgard. Like, very few people, the most powerful people in the Marvel Universe, need a little something extra to stop the Juggernaut. So imagine his rampaging force, Trigon might be vulnerable to. And in case it comes up, the avatar of Sidorak also doesn't need to eat, drink, breathe, sleep. He is fully charged, he never tires, and he has no need for sustenance, which means he also will never age. Now let's compare that against the demon Trigon. Now Trigon, this is so confusing because there's different realities. So there were a lot of things that occurred in the pre-52 continuity of DC. There's other things that have occurred in New 52. So we're going to try to go with New 52, but some things we don't know. And so we can infer that some things might be similar to the other continuities. So Trigon basically is a demon. His origins are kind of all over the place. How was he created? But it's consistent that he is incredibly powerful. And he has this desire to basically conquer worlds, and he wants to conquer Earth. And so that tends to be, how does he get into this plane of existence and how does he take it over? Seems to be a reoccurring theme. In terms of offensive powers, he also has access to all sorts of magic, meaning he can summon fire or elemental things like he can use that energy. He can use telekinesis, so he can move things with his mind. He can use a lot of spells and magic that he probably has learned over many, many, many millennium, or however old Trigon really is. He is incredibly powerful magically. In terms of defenses, he has been hurt. So there's been instances where people have made him bleed and made him, they've hurt him, but he tends to regenerate, or kind of like smoke will appear and he'll reform. Even if he is destroyed, he tends to come back. So brute force may not do the trick here. In terms of who Trigon has defeated, he has defeated the Justice League, the Teen Titans. He has defeated entire teams. Usually he is defeated either by banishing him, so they don't really defeat him, but they get rid of him. That's been known to happen. They also sometimes might destroy him if they have access to some sort of godly energy, something that is more powerful than his demonic energy, that they can basically use that energy to disintegrate him, even though he usually comes back together. So in the New 52, I don't believe he's been destroyed. So this is one of those things that we're kind of like seeing from the pre-52 stories, that like they were able to destroy him, but it took incredible feats to do so. And so you can assume that there's some sort of incredible feat in the New 52 that would do this as well. If he has been killed, let me know in the comments. DC is my weak link, and New 52, I don't always know about. So if someone has defeated or killed Trigon in the New 52, let me know, and we'll use that information to decide how to destroy him. Is Juggernaut, Constantine, able to destroy Trigon? So let's talk about that. We have these two beings. John Constantine is a master of prep because he knows so much and he knows how to look up stuff. So think about if there's a way, because this is just gonna happen and he has no prep time, but maybe he can do something to allow himself some prep time. So think about, what could Constantine do to win this fight? What could Trigon do to shut down a normal human with some magical abilities inside the armor of Sidorak? So think about what would happen here. How is this going to play out, and what is going to happen to Gotham City or the world as we know it? So give me your comments. Give me your expertise. If you know a lot about Constantine, you know about Trigon, you know about Juggernaut, give me all that feedback. Talk to each other. Let's build a case for what would happen in this scenario. And next week, we'll have the results and see how this whole thing comes together. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.